for that answer. Democracy should be representative. However, toxic rhetoric, transphobia, sexism and racism have become rife in political institutions globally. We each have the power to shape the political discourse, to ask the Scottish Government how it can encourage members to consider the impact of their words, especially on the democratic engagement of underrepresented groups.
Minister.
Well, I agree fundamentally with the point that Ms Tweed makes in terms of democracy having to be representative. I think, however robust our debates might be in here, and they should rightly be robust, they should be based in reality and facts and fundamentally in respect for differing points of view. I do think we have a leadership role in this place in terms of leading and guiding public discourse, and in that regard Ms Tweed and other members will be aware of the summit the First Minister is holding to try and bring together political leaders and civic society, and I know that he looks forward to all parties accepting that invite.
You know, Farage has been for years leading the argument which has been hostile to migration, and I think that it is you know, it's based on a fundamentally racist view of the world. I reject that. I think migration is an advantage for Scotland. We have a reducing working age population. We need to attract more working age people to come to live and to work and to contribute in our country, and that's an economic necessity for us, and the Farages would essentially rail against that and undertake significant damage to us.
Well, so the video that I made earlier on when I was at a loch that ended prematurely, one of the main reasons that I was wanting to make the video was because of the initial little clip that I played there at the start, because obviously that clip came out after the sort of beginning of the end, for now anyway, of reform, you know, their capitulation. And this has all obviously come at the same time as Nigel Farage has gone out of his way to basically cack, for lack of a better term, to Islam, as well as distance himself away from the idea of deportations. And bear in mind as well, this is the same guy who is on record as talking about playing a role and bragging about it, more or less. Bragging about ending the far right back in the day, aka the BNP, you know. I'm not going to sit here and patronize people and tell people things that they already know and or that they've heard before. Just simply going to point out a few things here in relation to like the total bullshit that comes out of the gobs of our so-called nationalistic slippery Swinney, our nationalistic leader, I should say, slippery Swinney. You know, this concept of far right, it really is just the most mundane, overused term at this point. But obviously, a couple of weeks back now, he came out and called for unity to combat the far right, you know, and then in the same breath, it's not like literally just talking out of both sides of his mouth. And then the next breath, as I say, starts referring to democracy and whatnot. Oh dear. But
it's crystal clear. You know, Farage has been for years leading the argument which has been hostile to migration, and I think that it is you know, it's based on a fundamentally racist view of the world. I reject that. I think migration is an advantage for Scotland. We have a reducing working age population. We need to attract more working age people to come to live and to work and to contribute in our country.
You know, to be told over and over and over again that we need immigration, and to be told over and over again that our population is aging and or in decline. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's not only worrying, it's also tiresome as well, because this is a sort of cross-party consensus in our alleged democracy. But if you have a problem with it, you're far right. You know, you're racist, apparently. To be told over and over again, year upon year upon year upon year, that our population continues to grow, despite the fact we're also simultaneously told that our birth rates are in decline, should be worrying. It's also tiresome. But if you've got a problem with that, you're far right. Okay? I mean, it's just getting to a point now where debate really isn't something that should be considered, really. You know, you need to start calling a spade here, as far as I'm concerned. Is this what constitutes the far right to oppose this? Because, believe it or not, I don't hear Nigel Farage or anybody from the fucking Reform Party talking about this. No, you don't, really. But again, they're the scapegoats. The Reform Party are nothing more than the scapegoat, the acceptable, the societally acceptable, as far as the system is concerned, so-called far right, the fringe. But if you dare surpass that, if you dare go beyond what's acceptable, aka you don't like reforms and you want to go allegedly further right, that's when you become a problem, right? That's why Nigel Farage and the gang have poo-pooed everybody that's further to the right of them, okay? Scotland's population is rising at the fastest rate since the 1940s. And what do you think that's attributed to? I wonder. Without migration into Scotland, the population would have fallen. Yeah? Got a problem with that? You must be far right. Scotland's birth total falls to lowest recorded level, and this is a theme that's occurred year upon year upon year upon year, while abortion rates go up, and of course, more importantly, not to take anything away from the aforementioned, but more importantly, our population continues to increase. If we oppose that, are we far right? Are you far right for having a problem with that? Are you far right if you have any concerns with this? Now, some might push back and say that that doesn't make you far right. But the problem what we have here when it comes to the likes of the SNP in particular, but not limited to it, is they don't actually really ever define far right. And because they don't define it, it allows for them to be able to slap the label onto whoever the fuck they want whenever it suits them. You know? As I said, I thought that this summit was just going to be talking specifically about Nigel Farage and the Reform Party. But I have to wonder if there is going to be a bit more that will be spoken about when the time comes. Because at the end of the day, I don't really give a fuck at this point whether or not I am labelled as far right and whatnot. Because these are trends that are occurring in this country. These are facts. And the reality is pretty simple. That in time, we are going to become a minority in our own country. You know, everybody remembers the article from the Herald a long while ago. Mass migration is coming and the future of Scotland is Asian, says a leading migration experts. You know, if you oppose this, are you far right? If you express concerns about this, are you far right? I think we know the answer to that. I think we know. But this is what I'm on about, though. Like, we're constantly bombarded with stuff such as this. If we're not being told by our politicians in our parliament 24/7 that diversity is our greatest strength, if we're not having our education system polluted to no end by an ever-increasing amount of critical race theory and black history, etc., anti-racism, I mean, when does it end? When does it end? And what's happening here, what has happened for the longest time now, is that we are being told as if it's a matter of fact that we need to open our borders to have people come into the country to have children on our behalf. And if we oppose the fucking concept, we're far right. If we're going to get called evil, then so should they be. You know, the worst thing about it, on a side note for a go, is they bang on about democracy. You know, but yet the status quo that they've all got amongst themselves, that we need these policies, we need to open our borders and spread our metaphorical butt cheeks. Where's the democracy in that? Because just because the entirety of the parliament in some instances all agree, that doesn't mean that the people agree. You know? They circle the wagons around the progressive policies and they call it fucking democracy. Yeah. Good one, eh? Peace.